reasons why I decided to stop playing rugby league in Port Moresby with the local teams over here. The first reason is like, firstly, a number of boys who come to training are very needy, and you can tell that they don't come from good families. At times, they might ask me for water, bus fare, and training shorts. Yeah, according to this first point, there were a couple of stages, like times at training where boys were very needy and they needed bus fare and water, and they'd ask me for things. They'd expect me to do them little favors and all these type of things. Like sometimes they saw me wearing good clothes, they thought I might have extra sportswear in my bag because I carried a bag to training, and they thought that I had stuff for them like water, clothes, things that they might need, and they asked me for it, and they asked me to lend them things. Like most times I'd bring water to training, but then sometimes they'd ask for sportswear or in some cases bus fare. Okay, that's the first point. Okay, the second point is the ways in which the lower level clubs in Port Moresby are organized and structured are very unprofessional. If I went to training, I wouldn't be informed of the game and location where the games would be played. Yeah, so that's very true. Like the level of professionalism in the clubs over here in Port Moresby, they're not that professional. Like they don't have people who fill in certain roles like the medical doctors or player managers and all these type of things. And when games are held, they don't announce them properly. Like you'd have to listen carefully, and you'd have to find out through Facebook or something like that if the team had a group page or something like that. But the way things were done were it wasn't that professional, and people were not getting paid to do their roles. Like the coach wasn't getting paid to coach the team, and like people were not very motivated, and it meant that financially the team wasn't able to survive or something like that because we're not making a lot of income or anything. And like, and when games are played and competitions are held, we share the same field, Connie Tigers Oval, and that was also a struggle too because all the games were played at the all the games that were to be played on the weekend were going to be hosted both levels at the same stadium. This meant that the amount of game time was reduced and teams played shorter times, and some matches that were too short, some players off the bench couldn't even come in and play because not enough game time because all the teams had to share the same stadium. And yeah, so those were some things that happened that are very different between here and in Canberra. Like Canberra, like the reserve grade level, I used to play in the reserve grade level, and we get to play 35 minutes per half. Like in the first half, you play 35 minutes, in the second half, likewise. And over here, the game time is very very short because of all the games, all the teams that are training around the area have to share the same stadium. Whereas in Canberra, they played at different stadiums. Like at Belconnen, we used the stadium at O'Connor, and some Tagronong would have their own stadium, and like games were not shared at this one particular area, so it was spread out. So that meant the game time was longer for the grades. Yeah, so maybe just 3 matches only were played. Like yeah, more than 3 matches are played at Coney Tigers Oval. So that means like it shows that our competitions here are very very poorly run, and they're we're not very effective. So that's the second reason, not be professionalism and all that. Okay, the third reason, um, too many boys and men are competing for starting positions in teams in Port Moresby, and it makes it difficult to end selection to higher level clubs. Yeah, the system over here is very very bad, and if you wanted to end selection to a higher level club in the Digital Cup, you'd have to. There are plenty of players competing, and sometimes if the team is not good, like the players in that particular team it makes it very difficult. And the selectors sometimes they don't really pick the players properly, and like you have to first, like, how I see it is like, first the teams playing have to make, from B grade you have to go to A grade, and from the A graders that's when they make the selections. And the selections to go further to another level, you'd have to go to the Port Moresby League, POM League, and then you make it to the Digital Cup. So like it's a very very long process, and to make it to the Hunters too, you're talking the whole country is fighting to get into that Hunters team. And yeah, this was a very very tough for me too, because I'm playing and I'm trying my best, I'm giving it all I got, but it's not worth it because the team I'm training in, I'm not learning much from the team, and all these other issues happening in the club too makes it very difficult to move up, and to make it from the Hunters all the way up through the system over here, it's gonna be a really hard process. Okay, that's the third reason. The fourth reason, a number of players in the team get jealous and angry when they see a player who is different from them, especially a player who comes from a good family background. A number of them would bully that player and not be kind to him. Okay, this fourth point, yeah, I think the players in the team, they show this type of attitude. Like if they see a player that's got good stamina and he's got a good build and he's coming to training and they think that he's not on the same level as them, sometimes they get offended by that very easily, and sometimes it makes them jealous and they get angry with that player and they think, oh, that player's just trying to show off. It happened to me a couple of times. Like I walked to Connie Tigers and I had a group of boys, like they were talking among themselves, so let's get him, let's bash this guy up because he thinks that he's better than us. He's comes from a good home, he wears good clothes, he wears all types of things to training, and he thinks he's on another level. And like when I look at them, how they behave themselves and their attitude towards the sport, it's very bad, and makes it difficult to train or participate with boys, not on just your team but like other teams around, because we share the same stadium at Coney Tigers, and teams around us, they get very jealous and they have hatred amongst and one another, and sometimes it causes rivalries and all that. Okay, the fifth reason, during matches being played, a number of players would ask me for spikes and bandages. They think I bring things for them, and in the bag I carry and ask me for things. Yeah, I used to carry a bag to games and just to carry my stuff to training. I use the bag, but then the players see me carrying the bag, they think I have extra stuff for them, like bandages, to if some of them get bruised up, or sometimes they even ask me for my spikes, and I have no choice but to give it to them because I don't want to cause problems and anything, so I just listen to their demands and everything. So they think I'm just an easy pushover, so they just take advantage. That's why I said enough is enough. I'm not gonna put up with this. I've had enough. People asking for stuff when they should be responsible for bringing their own gear, their own supplies to training. But instead, it becomes very stressful when you have to fix some of them their needs up.